Our next lecture is about mode of financing. So the mode of financing here, we are the first mode of financing we will discuss first is that is
सर ये तो काफी मुश्किल चीजें आ रही
the
हैं आज।
Murabaha mode of financing. Silent please. The first for mode of financing we will discuss in Islamic banking is Murabaha, that is very famous, and that is the first tool and the first mode of financing that is very popular in Islamic banking. Even it is most popular, we can say it is much more popular in we say here than profit loss sharing. Even it is much more popular than profit loss sharing mode of financing. So first, Murabaha mode of financing is a particular kind of sale. I will go from the slide. You can see and can follow and can write your questions. Murabaha is a particular type of sale. That is according to Sharia, where the seller clearly highlights the cost he has incurred for the commodity for sale. So here, the seller clearly, expressly highlights the cost of the commodities for sale and sells that commodity to another person by adding some profit. That is markup. That we say that is the markup. So here in overview, the seller is in Islamic banking. The seller is bank. Islamic bank is seller, which very clearly, expressly identifies the cost it has faced for the commodities for sale. Bank buy some item, some commodities, which one can be machineries, and it can be home, it can be some other commodities, and then this bank, Islamic bank, sells it to another party by adding some profit or markup. बैंक बाय करने के बाद एक्चुअली वो जो प्राइस होती है वही बैंक की कॉस्ट होती है, ठीक है। जिस प्राइस पे बैंक ने कोई भी आइटम बाय की होती है, देन बैंक क्या करता है, कुछ प्रॉफिट, कुछ मार्कअप उसमें ऐड कर लेता है, दैट इज इन द नोटिस ऑफ द बायर. Buyer knows that. So this is the contract. Murabaha is a mode of financing contract where two parties, the first party is Islamic bank, the other party is the buyer. The buyer shows all conditions of the contract, even the bank identifies the quality, quantity of the product and its actual price and the profit and the markup also clearly shows before the buyer. So this is the much popular mode of financing in Islamic economics and Islamic banking. That is the riba-free transactions. So here, riba-free transactions. So this is the riba-free transaction. We will discuss in detail later the difference between riba-free and with riba transactions later. So now we are going to Murabaha explanations. So Murabaha is Islamic financing structure, is a way of Islamic finance where, please follow here, where an intermediary means where a bank buys an asset with free and clear title to it. It means the bank buys an asset like machineries, looms, and other capitals. Then this intermediary, this bank, and the possible buyer then agree upon a sale price. Say both agree upon a sale price, that the price upon which the buyer is agreed to pay. The sale price that can be made through a series of installments or as a lump sum payment. These payments the buyer can pay through a series of installments or as lump sum payments. Mostly the payment is made through a series of installments because this is a way of financing, right? So this is a brief introduction of Murabaha. But here the difference between riba-free and riba transactions, riba-based transaction is that. So in riba-free transactions, intermediary, banks, and the prospective buyers both agree upon a sale price. And they clearly highlight the profits. बैंक हाईलाइट करता मैंने इस प्राइस पे इतना प्रॉफिट लेना है, इतनी इसकी कॉस्ट है, इतनी प्राइस में इतना प्रॉफिट लेना, दैट इज वेरी क्लियर. फर्दर अब इंटरेस्ट रेट कम हो या ज्यादा हो, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इस्लामिक बैंकिंग में इंटरेस्ट रेट जीरो, इंटरेस्ट ड्यूरेट करता है. अब रिबा बेस्ड ट्रांजैक्शन क्या होगी? इन विच बोथ पार्टीज, कन्वेंशनल बैंक like a B bank and the possible buyer agree upon a sale price. But this sale price will be paid through installments. But they also mentioned, but the bank also mentioned that as interest rate rises, so some portion of interest payments can be added in in the further installment, in future installments. It means interest rate के बढ़ने से installments upload हो सकता है. So that is the riba based transactions. So Murabaha is allowed because that is riba free transactions, and the other one is riba based transaction that is not allowed. So now we are going to the Murabaha is not interest bearing loan. That is already I discussed, I told you. Murabaha is not an interest bearing loan, but it's an acceptable form of credit sale under Sharia. It is an acceptable form of credit sale under Sharia. Under Sharia means Sharia rules, regulations. Acceptable form of credit sale. Credit sale means, that is very important. Credit sales are purchases made by the customers who do not render payments in full in cash at the time of purchase. जिसमें बेटा जितने भी बायर्स हैं सेल क्रेडिट में, वो डिफरेंट परचेजिंग स्पेस पे करते हैं कि उसकी पेमेंट फ्यूचर में होगी, वो इंस्टॉलमेंट में होगी, वो फुल पेमेंट नहीं करेंगे. तो मुराबाहा इज नॉट इंटरेस्ट बेस्ड लॉन, but it is an acceptable form of credit sale. Credit sale means the delivery will be at the time, the delivery will be immediate, the item will be delivered immediately, and the price will be in future in installment. That is a credit sale. The reason is that, first reason is that Murabaha is not an interest-bearing loan. It is an acceptable form of credit sale. First one is the important point is that why Murabaha is so important in Islamic banking. First importance is that it prevents riba. It prevents riba. Riba will not be added in any kind of transaction. Here, the intermediary is the Islamic bank, cannot be compensated in addition to the agreed upon terms of the contract. For example, if the buyer is late for any installment for any future payment, then bank cannot charge any late penalties, that is compensation to the bank. That is not allowed in Sharia. The first one is, so this mode of financing prevents stop riba. Second, this mode of financing does not allow Islamic banks to be compensated in addition to the agreed upon terms of the contract, like in the form of penalties. Second, so Murabaha transactions, here we find some guidelines about Murabaha transactions, Murabaha mode of financing. In Murabaha transactions, we find that Murabaha transactions are between a bank and a customer. Murabaha transactions are between a bank and a customer. That is, this transaction, very important point is that this transaction is based on trades, not merely based on financing transaction. This transaction is based on trades, not based on financing transactions. It means this transaction is like trades, not like just finance. Trade is allowed, trade is allowed, and financing, just financing, is doubtful in Islamic bank. डेफिनेटली बेटा मशकूक हो जाता है और ट्रेड अलाउड है, ट्रेड में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है यहाँ पे. ओके, फॉर एग्जांपल ये हमारे पास एग्जांपल क्या होगी, द बैंक फॉर ट्रेड because we say, so this Murabaha contract is between bank and customer. So this transaction is based on trade. So in trade, the bank must take the possession of the good before selling it. It means the bank must take actual possession of the good. Actual possession of the good means पहले उसको अपने कब्जे में ले, नेक्स्ट कस्टमर को सेल करने से पहले. Okay. For example, in case of penalty, the bank and the customer agree, both are agreed upon the penalty for late payment. Then in this case, for example, trade is happened. Both partners are agreed upon the trade based Murabaha transaction. And they also say that in case of a late payment, the customer will be punished with some penalties. In this case, the bank can impose penalties for late payment to purify them. But penalty is okay. But to purify the penalties, that is not allowed in Sharia. But to purify the penalties, it is very important for the bank to donate these penalties to charity, to any charity. Okay, पेनल्टी चार्ज कर सकता है लेकिन वो पेनल्टी एज अ चैरिटी दे देगा. ओके, द थर्ड फीचर ऑफ मुराबहा, इंटरेस्ट फ्री ट्रेड बेस्ड mode of financing. Interest free trade based mode of financing. This one is a cost plus financing. Cost plus financing, that is the form of trade finance. This one already we have discussed. पहले बता चुका हूँ, that is the form of trade finance. This contract involves the sale of an item on a deferred basis, which means पेमेंट्स रेफरेंस हो सकती हैं, इसमें कोई इशू नहीं है. That's allowed in Sharia in installment. There is no problem. The fourth feature is very clear. Already we have discussed the fourth feature of Murabaha mode of financing, trade-based financing. The item which is the central point of mode of financing, Murabaha. The specific item will be delivered immediately, no late. As the bank receives the item and proves its possession over the item, over the commodity, then it should deliver that item immediately, and the price and also the price that is payable in future should be clear with the profit upon which both are agreed. First, item should be delivered immediately. Second, the price showing actual cost plus profit should be agreed by the both parties. So in this price, in this contract, actual cost, actual cost of the item in this contract, the actual cost, actual price of the contract and profit will be shared by the customer, with the customer. In simple words, there should be no doubt in contract, in the commodity, in the payments, in the price and profit. The fifth feature of Murabaha mode of financing. Murabaha is a form of trust sale. Trust sale means the buyer must trust that the buyer, the customer must trust that the seller, the bank, Islamic bank, is disclosing its true cost of the commodity. After showing the true cost of the commodity, a profit margin must be agreed by both parties. There can be a percentage of cost or can be a fixed amount. Okay. So these are the very basic features of mode of financing. One very important point in the mode of financing is that the amount of profit which is added and described and agreed profit that is added in the transaction is not a reward for the use of financial money. That's not a reward of the use of financial money. It means bank cannot take money if he does not perform any service. अगर बैंक किसी किस्म की सर्विस प्रोवाइड नहीं करता, it means अपने एक्सपर्ट्स के साथ रिक्वायर्ड अमाउंट एंड रिक्वायर्ड क्वालिटी के साथ कमोडिटी बाय नहीं करता, then bank cannot charge any profit for the use of its money. That is the point. So the profit is not the reward of the use of money. Actually, this profit is a reward of trade. Is the reward of trade. The reward for trade. So, because if this profit, we accept that This profit is a reward for the use of money. Then it will resemble the charging of interest. It will be resembled with the charging of interest. That is not allowed in Islamic economic, Islamic banking. That is banned and haram. Then, but a very important point is that for its flexibility, Murabaha trade-based mode of financing, it comprises more than 75% Islamic bank financing activities. 75% of Islamic financing activities are based on Murabaha. Only 10% financing activities are based on profit loss sharing solutions. Only 10%. The reason is that why profit loss sharing based transactions are only 10% and Murabaha trade based mode of financing activities are 75%. Why this one is the biggest figure? The reason is that the bank here, the problem is that bank is taking large amount of risk. It's taking large amount of risk in case of profit loss sharing based solutions, profit loss sharing based investment activity, PLS based. So these kind of investments are carrying high amount of risk for the banks. So therefore, banks avoid such kind of investments in actual terms. No time we see that the amount owed to the bank in a profit sharing contract mostly exceeds the amount to be paid in a proper contract. Simple word means banks में वो अर्निंग्स जो प्रॉफिट लॉस शेयरिंग में अर्न करनी है वो अमाउंट मुराबा अमाउंट ऑफ फाइनेंसिंग में जो प्रॉफिट होता है उससे कम है, मोस्टली कम होती है, बिकॉज प्रॉफिट लॉस शेयरिंग बेस्ड सॉल्यूशंस में मोस्टली सम टाइम बैंक बहुत ज़्यादा कॉस्ट क्रिएट करता है, प्रोजेक्ट वैल्यूएशन कॉस्ट होती है, जो इनविजिबल कॉस्ट है, सम टाइम कॉस्ट ज़्यादा होती है, प्रॉफिट बहुत कम होता है. As a result, bank prefers Murabaha trade-based mode of finance. So this is a simple reason of great proportion of Murabaha trade-based investment activities. But this is the picture. This is the graphical. This is a graphical representation of Murabaha or cost plus financing. Different names: Murabaha mode of financing, Murabaha trade-based mode of financing, cost plus financing. All these names are Murabaha. So here you can see a financier is the bank. Bank gives $100 to the vendor to manufacture some item. That item is returned to the financier with title like washing machine, title means name. Then financier and customer are agreed upon the price. 100 is the cost of machine. $10 is the profit of financier. Then financier hand over this title to the customer. This transaction is immediate. This item is delivered. This title is delivered from financier to the customer immediately, and $110 in payment is done through installments or can be in cash payments. So one very important point here that is very important for students. Some Islamic banks here, they work with Murabaha mode of financing, but some banks significantly twisted the principle of Murabaha. They twisted the principle of Murabaha due to some doubtful bonds, due to some doubtful bonds, based on some doubtful bonds. Further, they justify Sharia non-compliant behavior. Like they introduced the allowance of the time value of money. That is like interest. Okay. So this is the twist of twist of the Islamic banks for the principle of Murabaha. They allow the time value of money concept as allowance. They report that this is the concept of compensation is allowed in Murabaha because this is the allowance of the time value of money. And sometimes allowance of the time value of money, that is another thing that is misinterpreted. They introduce the time value of money, that is like the interest, but they give the name of allowance, that is not allowed. Second, they introduce the penalty fee for clients who are late for payments. So this is also allowed, but both forms are not allowed in Islamic banking, in Islamic economics. So this twist is not Sharia based, that is the Sharia non-compliant behavior of the Islamic bank. So now I stop